Hi, I'm Kelly J., Chair of the Abilene Chamber of Commerce, and this good-looking fellow here, this is Doug Peters, the President, CEO of the Abilene Chamber of Commerce. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And man, we're going to have a good time. So
we are going to have a good time.
First, we want to kick off, more important, what the Chamber does for small business.
Sure.
I own a small business. I'll do my input here in a minute, but
You bet.
Tell us what we do.
For 116 years, Kelly, this Chamber of Commerce has been a voluntary association of business that really looks after the interest of this business community, which means that every day we are active in Washington, D.C., in Austin, Texas, and in our local governments, working with our elected leaders to make sure that conditions for business in Abilene, Texas are optimum and better than any place else on the planet. And we've gotten pretty good at it.
Oh, yeah.
We've got boots on the ground in Austin full-time that help us there. Fortunately, and this is a bit of a competitive advantage, we've got great elected leaders. And you know, I've had people come up to me many times and say, "Why aren't you ever over at City Hall pounding on the podium and telling them what, you know, how it's going to be?" And I said, "Because I don't need to do that. We communicate regularly. We let them know challenges that exist in the business community. We resolve those challenges before they become problems and before they become public. And that's what makes this community such a special place for people to do business."
Well, it's awesome.
And that's just that's the backbone of who we are. But we do so much more than that, as you know.
Well, tell us about the Austin thing. I got to go to Austin with the group, and when you say the group, there's like 30 or 40 of us.
Sure.
And if you want to go on that thing, make sure you contact the chamber and let them know that you want to go.
Absolutely.
But it's very cool because you get to go like to the Capitol,
Right.
And they actually let me in. No security and all that
They
stuff.
must not have seen you coming, right?
They didn't see me coming. But here's the cool part. When you get there, you get to visit about small business and making Abilene better.
That's right. And let me give you a couple of examples of what you accomplished when you went as part of our group last session. We were sitting in a meeting room with Senator Charles Perry, and we brought up that Abilene, Texas has been the site of several wildfires over the last few years, and introduced a concept to him to get funding from the state of Texas to permanently base Texas A&M wildfire aerial tankers at the Abilene Regional Airport. Ended up with $22 million in state support to be able to get that done. We didn't do that by ourselves. The city of Abilene, the Abilene Aero had a big role to play. Abilene Regional Airport had a big role to play. But if we hadn't been sitting there with people like you telling that story to our elected officials, it may not have happened.
Yeah.
So we take our story to those people and we share that story and how important it is in order to get the support that Abilene rightly deserves.
Yeah, it's very cool. Now, when you first, join the Abilene Chamber of Commerce, everybody needs to. I'll just put that in. I own a small business too. And it's great for me because not only do we do the networking that everybody sees.
We do.
Like the world's largest, Texas Farm and Ranch show thing that we do. So it's huge. Okay, we also
It's not the largest, it's the longest running.
Well, whatever. I'm going to call it the largest.
I like that.
So you also have the Business Expo, which is the biggest in the world.
Huge.
Okay, it's not the biggest in the world. But anyway, several different networking opportunities each and every week, but also an opportunity to participate on different task forces.
Absolutely. Right? So we are working on tomorrow every day. We're not doing things that cropped up 5 years ago. We are looking way down the road on how we continue to better position Abilene, Texas to win economically. And I've got this thing that I've said ever since I got here, which was Abilene, Texas won't be good enough for any of us until it's good enough for all of us. So we're focused on all sorts of issues, all adopted by our board of directors, which you chair.
Love to do that.
And that lays out our game plan. And we are laser focused on every single component of that game plan, that at the end of the day, in 5 years, when that's done, we're really just starting all over again with new priorities. Because market conditions change, situations change, government policy changes. It's an election year, presidential election year. we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we're working to make sure that the relationships are in place, the public policy is in place, so that when Abilene decides it wants to achieve greatness from a business perspective, to create jobs, add to the tax base, do all those things, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And we bring people together from all walks of life. And that's what really is unique and interesting about this work. You know, I could be sitting here talking to a big dog like you today, and tomorrow I'm talking to somebody who has a dream to start a small business and just doesn't know what door to kick in because they don't know how to get the bank funding that they need. They need a business plan. So we send them to our friends at the Small Business Development Center.
They do a fantastic job.
They do a great
by the way.
job.
Yeah,
And, But they're the best kept secret in Abilene. Everybody knows who the Abilene Chamber of Commerce is. And we have this no wrong door approach. So you can start here anytime along your business journey, and we're going to put our arms on you and we're going to push you into the areas that you need to be in, including developing relationships with Abilenians. Abilene is a unique community because people do business here
with each other.
People they know and trust, right?
Yep.
And that is what I think we really excel at.
Yeah, and not only do we excel there, but the Chamber also excels. We're going to talk a little bit about downtown, I think.
Good.
And how that brings and keeps the workforce.
Absolutely.
Because that's really one of the main things we do the downtown for.
That's exactly right. So I've been here, I think I'm in my 9th year now, lost track.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's because you have to put up with me. It takes longer.
one of the first things that I was told when I got here was, hey, you know, we've been trying for several years to get a downtown convention hotel. Can you help us? And I thought, well, what are we not doing right that we haven't got that done yet? And I looked at the request for proposals from the development community. And Kelly, no offense to anybody who wrote the original one.
Yeah, I did that.
But
No,
you would glaze over. There was
Yeah.
no sizzle in that thing, you know? So
Yeah.
we pulled in some really smart people, creative people, people who are experts in urban planning. And the private sector, through our Growth Alliance, used to
Right.
be the AIF,
Yep.
wrote a check and said, we want you to create this opportunity for an anchor in our downtown that everybody's going to want to be a part of.
Okay, say that again, where the check came from. So
The private
because you always
sector.
hear
No,
that it's something else. But
it was your money.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
people who support this organization,
Yep.
who fund the work that we do, whose money was used to be able to create this vision for what is now known as the Festival District. And we were able to get 7 developers interested, whereas before we had none. Just because we packaged it with a market mentality, right? We had the
Yeah.
people who would want to be a part of something like that tell us what was compelling that would make them want to be a part of it. So you look out the window of this office and you see this beautiful building over here that is active. People are doing great things, and it is an anchor for the downtown. But once we did that, it led us into this, okay, we're like a dog chasing a car. Now we got that. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
So then we got busy and invited 1,500 people from this community to come together and write a vision for the downtown. Not because we wanted to fix a downtown that was on a respirator. It wasn't. You know, people like Judy Matthews and the Dodge Jones Foundation have invested heavily in our downtown forever.
Big deal, yeah.
But what is, with this new $80 million plus public-private partnership hotel, how do we leverage that for the good of Abilene taxpayers? So we brought all these people together and they said, here's what we think downtown ought to look like and feel like and smell like and taste like. And look at it happening. We didn't do anything except bring a bunch of people together. And that's really what we do. We're conveners of really smart people.
Yeah.
We've been doing
Hang around them because they're smart. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the brightest bulb in the lamp. You know that about me. But man, there are incredibly bright, passionate people who love this city, who are part of this business community, and they say, we want to help move this place forward. And they do that through the Abilene Chamber of Commerce.
Well, and it's going to make it more fun downtown. It's going to make it more active. That's for the young people. So now when they graduate from our great universities and colleges, they want to stay.
You know,
that helps the workforce for any small business.
Absolutely.
For people to stay.
And we never aspire to be Austin, Texas. We don't want to be Austin.
That's a good thing.
We want to be the best Abilene we can be. But here's a neat little story. There were a group of young ladies. I think they may have been I think they may have been at A&M or UT or somewhere, and they were talking about what they were going to do on spring break. And one of them said, their family is from here. This is how I heard the story. One of them said, we don't need to go to, Galveston to the beach. Let's go to Abilene. It's the new Austin.
Wow, okay.
That's like the coolest compliment you can get. Now,
Yeah,
we don't
that's-
want to be Austin, but our downtown is alive. And there are people downtown 18 hours a day. The only time you're not seeing people is when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're eating, they're drinking, they're learning, they're working, all of that. That is the goal, to create this livable urban environment where people want to be, they want to spend money. And if you think about it, it's everybody's neighborhood. It doesn't matter where you live in this region, you're coming downtown for something at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Government, library, whatever it is.
Chamber.
Chamber. Yeah, there's
Come see us.
big line out the door out here.
Yeah.
But we want people to understand that downtown is the sort of the heartbeat of the community. And and you know this, but we are not downtown centric.
No.
We work in
We're all over
every part of this
yep.
region. We're as concerned about the widening of I-20 and infrastructure, non-traditional infrastructure like broadband. Another one of the issues that we worked on in Austin.
It was.
But there is so much untapped opportunity and so many things that we can get even better at that we never take a day off. We're always on duty. We're always working with people like you who love this city and want it to be the best Abilene it can be.
Yeah, it's going to be great too. Oh, and you mentioned, how it helps the livability factor.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned ARGA, which is the Abilene Regional Growth Alliance.
Right.
Now it used to be AIF, but
Right.
on that website, this is a pretty cool thing that all the businesses can use. You can get on there and show, say you have a potential person that from ACU even.
Sure.
That instead of moving back to Montreal where they're from, now they get to look at the livability of Abilene.
Where did you come up with
I don't have a clue. So, but anyway, you can look on that website. So tell us a little bit about that livability. I know Lauren and everybody here at
Yeah.
the chamber worked on that website for a long
Well,
time.
and I hope you'll do a future show, a future podcast on that topic because
Sure.
it is huge. Livability is all about creating a place where everybody feels that there is actionable opportunity happening all the time. And there is. There are jobs here. Through our AbileneWorks.com jobs portal, you can post a job if you are, an Abilene business. If you're a Dallas business, you can't use our portal. These are Abilene-centric jobs. But anybody in the world can look at those. We're getting now, through our intern ABI program, we're getting into the colleges and universities while these students are still here, and we are connecting them with people in their field, the field that they'll go into, so they've got a ready-made circle of influence and they don't want to leave. Look at Abilene Young Professionals.
Oh, it's huge.
Kelly, it's the largest I argue it's the largest in Texas. The reasonable people say it's the largest in West Texas. I don't care.
It is a lot of members. For sure.
600 plus people, 40 years of age and younger. And
They won't let us in, will they?
no, but they also don't check ID. So
good.
just wear a hat and
Yeah.
sunglasses. You'll be fine. What I think is important about that group of people, though, is that we didn't do it because we wanted them to have, something to do. We wanted them to create these relationships among themselves that they don't ever want to leave. So they're saying, well, I could go work in the Metroplex, but all my friends are here.
Yeah.
And
We're staying here.
I don't want it to sound like we're chaining them down, but we're giving them a reason to be here. They can be, successful here. They can be involved. I was on the board of the United Way early in my time here in Abilene, Texas. There were probably 5 or 6 people on that board who were still in their 20s. You can't do that in Houston.
No.
You don't get those opportunities.
Correct.
But you can help direct the future of your community in Abilene, Texas, because everybody's welcome and everybody's appreciated. So I just love that about our city.
Yeah.
Love that about this organization. Love that about the young people being willing to engage in all that happens here.
And they do. So if you're within that deal, make sure you join the chamber and
Heck yeah.
get the AYP. And another one too which is a huge one for us, is the MAC program,
Military
Affairs Committee.
Crown jewel.
Yeah, it is.
So 70 years ago, I don't even know if you know this, but 70 years ago, people like you who were part of this organization, I was born 10 years after this happened.
Okay.
I think you've been around 20 or 30
Oh, yeah,
years.
I was at the meeting.
70 years ago, a group of people from this organization went out and raised a bunch of money and bought land where Dyess Air Force Base sits today. And they went to Washington, D.C. on one of those trips, and they said, we're from Abilene, Texas. We've got 5,000 acres of land, and we'd love to have a military installation. Kelly, $568 million a year economic impact on our community because people like you in this organization had the wisdom and the foresight to go make that happen. The Abilene Zoo is another example. We wouldn't have a zoo if this organization hadn't pushed that issue however many decades ago when that zoo started.
Yeah.
All of those little things that most people think just kind of happened because business leaders and people engaged in the business community wanted this to be the best place to do business, and they knew that quality of life. I haven't forgotten the topic we're on. We're on quality of life, we're on quality of place, we're on livability.
Yeah.
They wanted those things to happen. Now, some of my best friends are airmen and their families.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the cool thing, the MAC program did too, is they kept winning the award for the community.
So many times.
So they renamed it the Abilene Award, which is cool.
And we're not allowed to compete for it anymore.
So that's not fair. And then the cool part was, to me,
it's now awarded to the second place, second best community.
Second best community.
Because,
Well, because we're the best. But the cool thing about that is so many airmen now stay here after they get out.
They do.
And they own businesses here.
They do.
And they're part of the chamber. That's what
they are. Yeah. And they're in leadership roles. You can't find better leaders than those who are coming out of Dyess Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
They are trained leaders, smart people. They serve on city council. They serve on the boards and executive committees of organizations all around this community. So we are certainly blessed. And Dyess, Gray Bridwell and the Military Affairs Committee do an incredible job of ensuring that mission continues for the next 100 years and that we're taking care of our airmen and their families. But so much goes into that.
It's crazy.
We were in Washington, D.C. 3 or 4 years ago. Gray Bridwell, Greg Blair from AEP, and a number of other people sitting in a conference room with the Secretary of the Air Force. And we said, we want to grow the missions at Dyess Air Force Base. And Dr. Heather Wilson, who at the time was the Secretary of the Air Force, said, if you want to do that, you've really got to step up your game taking care of airmen and their families. And we said, well, how could we do that? And she said, well, one way you could do it is to get the state to recognize licenses from people who are moving to Dyess, right? It's their new duty station. So if you're an airman and you're bringing your spouse, that spouse is a CPA or a teacher or a dentist, or if they have substantial equivalent licensing from another state where they've come from, they automatically get to go back to work here. They don't have to get recertified.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got that passed all over across the state, and that happened because people in our Military Affairs Committee office who love our military, who live our military, understood what she was saying. And with the help of people like Stan Lambert and Senator Charles Perry and all the people that we have these relationships with, which is where we started this conversation.
Yeah, it really did.
We got it done.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So all these little interconnected pieces, hundreds of incremental moves that move this community forward, it happens here.
Yeah. All you got to do is contact the chamber again, for all that information.
Absolutely.
We can do that. But with the military, we started the world's largest barbecue years and years ago.
You're a member of the storied Dirty Dozen, aren't you?
Yes, I am, since the 80s, for goodness sake. But anyway, what we do is we cook for the military and their families every year. So we invite you to come help, is what the deal is. Become a chamber member and then jump over there and help us do that. It's a cool thing.
And it's so fulfilling to watch these airmen and their spouses and their children walk through that door, and we're ringing a big dinner bell and cheering them on as they come through, and we feed them, and I don't know how many hundreds of pounds of brisket and sausage.
Well, I do. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I walked in my very first time to that event, and I knew it was serious when I saw somebody stirring In fact, it was Brian Yates, who is now on City Council, was in the kitchen stirring barbecue sauce with a boat paddle.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a big spoon.
Yeah,
So you know
yeah.
there's a lot of barbecue sauce
You got a lot
going
of stuff going on there. So military is very important, but so are the conventions with the new place. And Rob's doing a great job over
Rob
there.
Lopez is doing a great job.
At the Abilene Convention and Visitors
He
Bureau.
is.
And if you want to, connect with them, you just call them up, and there's a board.
There's a
that
board,
you can
very active
join.
board.
Yeah, they do a fantastic
They sure
job.
do.
Because that whole board does the Downtown Association and associations around town and Rochelle.
Yeah.
Out there, it's a great board to go to.
They are very active, and they have about a $550 million a year economic impact on this city, and you don't really think about that. But if you go to Chick-fil-A and you walk in and you see 36 soccer players, little soccer players in their uniforms, those are tournament players that are coming here because our Convention and Visitors Bureau, in a 30-plus year partnership with the city of Abilene, has gone out and recruited to come here. And this is probably not the best way to say it, but what I love about tourism is we go invite people to come here and give our business community the opportunity to pick their pockets while they're here.
Sure. No, pick your pockets
Right?
is great. Yeah.
We want
they gotta
dough
shop
to flow.
somewhere.
We want that dough flowing through our community, and then they go home, and they're not on our roads, and they're not in our schools, and adding pressure to the things that we need as locals. But we invite them back, and they come back for Western Heritage or the farm show that you mentioned. So many great opportunities. And now look at what's happened out at the AYSA, the Abilene Youth Sports.
It's a fantastic facility.
And they're growing that. And it's just, Michael Bobstar, retired B-1 pilot, former commander at Dias, his wife, Angela, said to me, and I forget where we were, but it was an event where we were celebrating another big thing. And she looked at me and she said, I feel like I'm living in the golden age of Abilene. And I thought,
wow,
okay,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm writing that one down, and I'm using that personally. I don't even know you. That's mine. That's going on the brochure.
Yeah.
But Kelly, look around this community at all the great things that are happening.
Yeah.
So many people. And it's not us. It's not the chamber. We don't have fairy dust to make all this stuff happen.
Oh, no, it's everybody together.
Everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope. And that is unique in a community.
Well, I think the chamber, you have how many employees now? Because we talked about it at the last exec board meeting. But
Across all the divisions, about 31.
But I think out of that 31, then go over that, all the volunteers.
2,401 people contributed 65,000 hours.
It's the business owners that stepped up and said, hey, I'll help with that project.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of that, too, with the conventions, I got with Skating Place, because they had an event come to Abilene.
I remember that.
So I was visiting, and I said, hey, that the Convention and Visitors Bureau will help you with that. He goes, really? So, yeah, if you got a convention coming, or if you go to a convention every year, tell them to bring it to Abilene, and then the Convention and Visitors Bureau helps you out finding the hotel rooms, getting the deal, the whole thing.
Even family reunions.
Yeah.
If it's visitors,
I never did think about family
if it's
reunions.
Visitors coming to our city, we're here to help, and
So,
they are good. In fact, they won the They won the best Convention and Visitors Bureau or Destination Marketing Organization in the state of Texas last year.
Oh, that's cool.
How good they are.
Yeah. And if you're wondering why, another job of the Abilene Chamber of Commerce, I call it jobs, but actually it's a great thing just to be a part of, actually to help, is also center stage. That's where if you're wondering why all the bands are playing everywhere, that's part of the deal. I mean, the business owners obviously hire them, but we really push for us to be a music city.
And that came from a member. We had a downtown business owner who said, we need to up our game in music. Why don't we have more live music? So we became a Texas music-friendly community. We're certified. We do it better.
I like to be certified. So that's good.
You are certifiable. Who does that?
Yeah.
But they reached out. We heard what they said. We got busy, and now you get the emails.
Oh, yeah.
How many nights a week is there not a live show?
I think every night you could go see 4 different shows now.
Exactly.
Yeah, which before we started that, 5, 6 years ago, there was none hardly.
Yeah, or if there was, you didn't know about it.
Yeah. So now we broadcast those and put those emails out and all that,
right.
so the bands know, everybody. So that's just a small part, but again, it's what helps your business grow.
That's right.
And I can't say enough to make sure that you join the chamber and join us and all these different things.
I'm a believer myself.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? So yeah, what a great deal. Anything to close that you want to?
Oh, good Lord. I am looking forward to folks really beginning to understand more about this organization and how they can be a part of this organization. But I also want to emphasize that even if, as a busy business owner, you don't have time to engage, this organization is still working.
Yep.
We are working legislatively to make sure that there is business-friendly public policy, minimized onerous tax burden, all of those kinds of things.
And the city, work with the city,
Absolutely.
have a great relationship
Absolutely.
with them. Yeah.
But we're working, even if our supporters, those people who support the mission of this organization, we're still doing our work that benefits them. So I don't have time to be involved. Yeah, I get that, and we wish you did, but you can still support the work because somebody's got to do that. And if not the chamber, then who?
Yeah. And then once you join the task force, you can miss a meeting and become the chair. That's how
teach
that
you.
happens. Yeah.
That'll teach you.
Never miss a meeting. That's a key factor there. Okay, well, until next time, we're just going to make more podcasts. We appreciate you joining us for
Absolutely.
Abilene Chamber. It's awesome.
Thank you.